Born in the USA, developed in Europe, and spread across South America and Oceania in a brief time, motorsport attracted heavy investments from the beginning. Costs are high and don't seem to stop increasing, but people are still more and more interested in racing. It has been almost 20 years since motorsport became a thing in countries that were never involved in it before. China, for example, built a dozen racetracks in just a few years and created numerous championships at a national level. Russia, instead, was always involved in motorsport, since the time of USSR in fact, but started to make it known internationally only in the last decade. What really surprises is a small group of countries, many of them considered controversial, which are expanding at the highest level of motorsport at an unexpected rhythm. Those countries are the Arabic countries. Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and recently Kuwait and Oman now host important facilities and events, while inhabitants picked up motorsport, luxury cars, and automotive in general as a lifestyle. Their story is worth to be told. A true example of business, opinion leading, branding, and advertisement. Let's see how they got into the world of racing. Our story starts in 1984, when for the first time the Middle East Rally Championship was sanctioned, unifying under a single series some rallies that already existed. Since then, only 7 different drivers have won the championship, but 30 of the 36 championships held until now belong to 2 drivers. Mohammed bin Sulayem, who won 14 editions and a total of 60 rallies, and Nasser Al-Attiyah, who was crowned 16 times and records 76 wins to this day. Some of the rallies of the MERC also hosted WRC for a few years. Jordan and Cyprus used to be rounds of the World Championship. It's Al-Attiyah maybe, the man who made it clear that motorsport has a great potential. By winning his first Middle East Championship in 2003 and racing as rookie in the World Rally Championship 1 year later, he raised the interest of his country, Qatar, and the entire area for off-road racing. Racing as works driver for famous manufacturers such as Toyota, he also made his supremacy in rally raids clear, and so Bahas and cross-country rallies started to be organized in Qatar, Jordan, UAE, and way more countries. To tell the truth, bin Sulayem started organizing the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge in 1991, and the event is now part of the FIA Cross Country Rally World Cup and the FIM Cross Country Rallies World Championship. Cross countries are perfect race formats for the infinite sea of sand that characterizes the Middle East. They require a large amount of space that could be provided easily. In addition, they also target an important audience, the one of SUVs and 4x4s, which has a large following in that area. Dubai International Baha and then Jordan Baha, Sharik's One, and many more were organized, and many of them now stand in the World Cup. However, in 2004 the game was changing forever. 3 different countries decided to build their own racetracks. First there was Bahrain, who was going to be the first state in the Middle East to host Formula 1. The circuit was initially designed by Hermann Tilke in order to meet the standards for top-class international racing. Crown Prince Sheikh Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa is a motorsport enthusiast and honorary president of the Bahrain Motor Federation. So, hosting races was a priority to him, and he himself assured government-backed funding for the construction. The work started in 1999, when Tilke proposed a multi-layout facility in the area of Sakhir. 3 years later, Tilke granted the track to join the F1 World Championship in 2004, unexpectedly due to Russia and India being in contention. The track in the end was ready for F1 in that year and was completed in 2007. Since then, local racing and various professional championships have come to Bahrain, such as WEC, Supercars and WTCR, when it was still known as TCR International. Now the track stands as one of the most beloved and used facilities in the world, enjoyed by the drivers and foreseeing a bright future. The second one built is located in Dubai. Since the 80s, the city grew so fast that it became a status symbol to live there. The idea was born in 2002, and as Clive Bowen was involved, Apex Circuit Design was founded to assist track design. 2 years later, the track was ready, hosting in October of 2004 the penultimate round of FIA GT Series. The track is backed with a business park outside Turn 1. Its multi-layout structure allows 3 different configurations to operate simultaneously. Furthermore, it was the first track to feature wide asphalt runoff areas. There is just one problem with the track: flooding. As it can't stand rain, many races were cancelled, the last of them being the Dubai 24 Hours in 2020, when drivers complained about the impossibility to keep racing with water not leaving the track. This event, however, stands as the season opener for both international GT and touring car racing, organized by a big promoter, Creventic, and attracting a lot of enthusiasts every year. The Dubai Autodrome is today a reference for any kind of racing and testing. Although it has no hopes to host F1, it is well known in the world and much appreciated. And finally, Qatar arrived. The track, originally built far away from the city, is now close to being fully integrated in the urban texture, inaugurated in October 2004. Over 1,000 people worked to finish the track in a year, with an investment of almost $60 million. In 2008, lights were installed for night races, and the track became a few years later the first to host a World Touring Car Cup night race. As for today, the track is the only one to have both FIA and FIM homologations, and is the beloved opening round of MotoGP every year. For 4 years, they've been the only 3 tracks in the area, as investors and government were more involved into city development and tourism than sports. However, those 3 kept operating with so many events that interest grew rapidly among people who had economical possibilities. One of them was the longtime motor racing enthusiast Abdulaziz Al Faisal, who started to dream of a circuit in Saudi Arabia in 2005, after graduating in Formula BMW in Bahrain. As he was the son of the former director of Saudi intelligence, Al Faisal worked with the government to bring the project to life. Raed Abuzinda, who describes himself as a race driver who happens to also be an architect, was in charge of designing the track. My eyes were in tears when I was given the site. I didn't know where to start because it was such an unbelievable variation of sand dunes. I built a tent and lived here for 2 years. At night, it would get so dark I couldn't even see my hands, but I would just walk around outside, trying to feel where the main building should be. I would talk to it, saying, "You think you're a tough job, huh? Well, I'm still going to build you." The circuit, the smallest in the Middle East at the time of construction, was the only racetrack in Saudi Arabia since the arrival of Formula E and the subsequent inauguration of a Diriyah Street circuit. Formula E never concealed the will to race in Riyadh, and in 2018 the dream came true with a track that was tight and actually not as beloved as expected, but capable to offer good races and a great spectacle in the center of the city. At the same time, the Dakar arrived in the region. After a year on a shortened course in Peru, the Middle East was chosen as the next destination to keep the event alive. Even if until now only Saudi Arabia hosted the famous race, future plans developed in Oman, UAE, Kuwait and way more. Actually, racing only in the desert brought Dakar back to the origins, when it was held in Western Africa, with a pure desert scenery. Drivers truly appreciated the choice. Going a few years back, the United Arab Emirates were already at the top with Dubai Autodrome, but it was not enough. Now they aimed to be the second Middle Eastern country to host Formula One. $1 billion were allocated to build an artificial island, Yas Island, with a Ferrari-themed park, a luxury hotel and a racetrack. Designed by Tilke, the facility lacks nothing but a good layout. Poorly designed, it features almost only 90 degrees shaped corners, without many opportunities to overtake. It's famous for the F1 2010 race, where Fernando Alonso was stuck behind Petrov and he lost the World Championship for, among others, this reason. The episode also pushed the FIA to introduce DRS so that overtakes would be easier. Yas Marina Circuit also hosts the Golf 12 Hours in December, an invitational race that lost charm in the last years due to the absence of official teams and great drivers. On the other hand, the World Rallycross raced there in 2019, and it was a success, so much so that in the next years Rallycross competitions are scheduled to be back in Abu Dhabi. F1 also is set to keep racing in the UAE for a long time as per agreements, and being the season finale makes the event somehow appreciated, ignoring the monotony of the majority of the races. An FIA Grade 1 racetrack has also been built in Kuwait, but it doesn't seem interested in major event, as today is operating as a local circuit, being the only facility in the range of kilometers. But the growth isn't going to stop. Saudi Arabia signed with F1 to host a race in Jeddah, on what is expected to be the fastest street track in the world. The stunning scenery of a modern seaside city, combined with an enormous building that will pass over the track on turn 1, will provide the right setting for a night race. Although concerns about the high number of turns are rising, organizers don't seem to worry, as heavy braking zones and various high-speed sections are going to mitigate the problem. And here's where motorsport in the Middle East stands today. In less than 20 years, a region that has never been involved before is now at the pinnacle of racing. Good investments, a clever management of the structures, the support of politics, and the growing economy in search of new possibilities granted the area a top spot. And as of today, many drivers from the Middle East are boasting their talent internationally. In a few years, we could even have a new Arab world champion.